Greetings Star Wars Nation and welcome to World Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest episode of Rebels, The Occupation and Flight of the Defender. So sit down, buckle up and hit that hyperdrive because World Reviews starts now. Alright boys and girls, my name is Ro, and recapping The Occupation, we'll find ourselves with our rebel friends going back to Yavin 4, and Mon Mothma has called Ezra to come into the briefing room. Once in the command room, we find ourselves with Mon Mothma talking to Ezra and the rest of the rebels about a transmission she received from Lothal from a man named Ryder. Now, Ryder has come out in the previous episodes of Rebels. Now, the transmission is very short, but you can see it's very urgent. So Ezra and the rebels now have a tough decision to either stay in Yavin 4 and help out the rebellion or go back to Lothal. But obviously, Ezra has a heart for his people, so he decides to go back to Lothal and help the people of Lothal. And to get to Lothal, they must get smuggled because they can't take any of the ships that might track them back to the rebellion. As arriving to the planet, they can see that the planet has been changed, the atmosphere has been changed, fields have been burned, and pretty much the Empire has been very predominant in that planet now. The rebels don't know how to contact Ryder, so Ezra has the idea to go to Joe's bar and pretty much try to get the information from Joe. But once they get there, they realize that the Empire is even occupying the place, the cantina where Joe used to work, and the bartender tells Ezra and Sabine that Joe had been captured and killed by the Empire. Luckily for our rebels, there's someone there that works for the rebellion, or at least for Ryder, and so after so much drama going on with the Empire, they managed to get into the sewers and they start following what it is like a symbol, and that's pretty much Sabine's symbol. They had put it everywhere in the tunnels to try to find the place, I guess the secret place, and at the end the rebels find that place, that door, and Ryder is there to rescue them. And that's kind of how we leave this episode of Rebels. And in the episode The TIE Defender, we find ourselves again with the rebels trying to do some intel recon on this new TIE Defender that the Empire is building. And so Sabine has the bright idea that instead of just getting pictures and videos of this new TIE fighter, she wants to get inside the TIE fighter and get the recording data to take back to Yavin 4. In all of this, the Lothal Cat actually play a part in trying to help Sabine and Ezra, trying to get the two stormtroopers away from the TIE Defender. And once they do, that's when Sabine goes inside the ship. She actually tries or manages to get the data. But the rebels did not count that Thrawn was gonna be there. Thrawn actually shows up in this episode, and so now Ezra has to find a way, a distraction, to try to, buy some time for Sabine as she's trying to either, destroy the TIE Fighter, but at the end they end up pretty much stealing it. So once they steal the TIE Defender, Thrawn sends out other TIE fighters and trying to see how this new Defender, compares to the old ones, how it would do in combat. As the new TIE Defender is being piloted by Ezra, Sabine is trying to deactivate the tracking beak on the TIE Defender. And this is where we get to see the intelligence of Thrawn based on the flight, based on the amount of fighting that has been going on so far. He realizes that it's not Hera flying the ship, because by now Hera would have already killed those TIE fighters. And by deactivating that beacon inside that TIE fighter, he realizes that it is the Mandalorian, it's Sabine inside that TIE fighter. Once Thrawn got all the information that he wanted regarding the specs and who was driving the TIE fighter, he tells the governors to just press that button so that the TIE fighter will fall out of the sky and pretty much potentially killing the rebels inside. Obviously, Sabine and Ezra survive the crash. They take the data with them, and they also take the hyperdrive for their ship. Once the Empire realizes that Sabine and Ezra survived the crash, they send a search party after them, and many times the Empire was close on catching Sabine and Ezra. But at the end, Ezra kept seeing this wolf since the beginning of the episode, and so this wolf shows up. He makes Sabine fall asleep and helps Ezra to get back to the rest of the crew, and that's how we leave this episode of Rebels. Alright boys and girls, these are my thoughts for these 2 episodes of Rebels, and honestly these 2 episodes aired together actually work well for me. We got to see how Lothal is really suffering under the hand of the Empire, how people are afraid, they're not even going out at night, they're being questioned, asking them their identification. They can't really do much because the Empire is really suffocating this planet, is really killing its resources. They also show us the relationship between Kanan and Hera and how it is a little bit more intimate than what they have been showing us in the past. This episode has really shown us how this crew has grown and the bonds they have formed with one another, making them pretty much a family. We obviously got to see the intelligence of Thrawn. We got to see how the Empire is not giving up, how they're building more weapons of mass destruction beyond the Death Star. We also seeing that the rebellion, little by little, they're still getting those small victories. They're in the long run, they're gonna matter to either free Lothal or to move the rebellion forward. And finally, the audience got to see the wolf and how Ezra is seeing these creatures, and now Kanan and Ezra have to figure out what this all means in pretty much the storyline, or in their storyline of Rebels. I really enjoyed these 2 episodes because it is moving the storyline of this Rebel crew, and for that I will have to give these 2 episodes a 9 out of 10. Alright Star Wars Nation, so what did you guys think about these 2 episodes? Did you guys enjoy seeing Thrawn or even the wolf or the Lothal cat? Comment below, let us know, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and like always, can't wait to guys have it back here at Royal Reviews.